This lesson we're going to look at volume and how we calculate volume, and it's sort of an extension on from area and perimeter, sort of the next step on from there. So firstly, what is volume? Now volume is the amount of space occupied by a 3D object. It's important to understand that it's a 3D object. So volume is measured in cube units, and we'll get to that a little bit later. So when we calculate volume, we are finding the number of cubes inside the object. So what does that sort of look like in regards to the units of measurement? So when we are using 3D objects, we have, when we're doing area, we usually just focus on the flat surface. When we are involving volume or a 3D object, we're including another dimension. Okay, so that's why it's three-dimensional. This is an example of a cubic centimeter, and this is an example of a cubic meter. So how many of these sort of square cubes would fit in size gives us the volume. Some examples here are sort of millimeters cubed. The red part of a match would have about 4 millimeters cubed, so the volume of the millimeter cubes would fit in there. The die, okay, so a die would have around a centimeter cube, similar to up there, and a washing machine or a dishwasher would have about a meter cube. So this should be a meter by meter by meter, and that's how we calculate units of measurement. So instead of having squared numbers, we want to use cube numbers. So it'll be centimeters cubed, meters cubed, etc. So we want to make sure that we use the cubed when we're dealing with volume. So what is the formula and how do we calculate volume? So basically the volume, the formula is, so we know length times width. Okay, so we know length times width as we have done previously with area, but now we're adding in that extra dimension of height. So the area is length times width times height. So we're calculating three units here. So it's length times width times height. Let's do an example here and then you can go on and do your own practice. So find the volume of the following rectangular prism in centimeters cubed. Okay, so the area equals length times width times height. Okay, my length in this case is 10 centimeters. My width is 7 centimeters. And my height is 5 centimeters. So I'll calculate these here. I can break it down into two parts. So 10 times 7 is 70 centimeters times 5 centimeters. And 70 centimeters times 5 centimeters gives me 350 centimeters cubed. So that's the volume of this rectangular prism here. So 350 centimeters cubes. So there should be 350 of these little cubes there would fit in that to give me the volume. So that's how you calculate the volume of any shape. So it's length times width times height. Remember, you're working with 3D objects here, and you're including those three dimensions of length and width and height, and make sure you also have cubed with your units of measurement at the end.